Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. Please consider becoming. Hey, I actually need like 9 more subscribers to hit that 1,000. When you get 1,000, you can monetize your channel. That's part of the goal and anybody with the channel. So definitely, if you appreciate any of the presentations, videos, and whatnot, consider becoming a subscriber. And if you also dig any of the videos or the comments, my remarks, thoughts, analysis, presentation, reviews, recaps, reactions, it's imperative to hit that like button. It helps the video be found by other people looking for the same subject. And it just takes a fraction of a second to help me out in that regard. So with that said, a couple housekeeping things. I listen to a lot of music. I love a lot. I love all kinds of music. So check out. I may not get to reviews on these, but check out this new project by Tiana Major 9, a UK vocalist. I really like what she's doing. I really like the vibe of her music. More traditional R&B. It's acoustic guitar driven. And to be honest, man, a lot of American R&B, the popular stuff, I really don't care too much about it. So Tiana Major 9 is a nice change up, somewhat in the vein of her, Her, or her, Gabby. But Tiana Major 9 has an album called At Sixes and Sevens. And it's pretty dope. Also, Mali Music. He has a new album out. I believe it came out Friday. It's called The Book of Mali. Mali is like gospel music, but really different. He's a different dude. Check him out. And it's not so much if you like gospel music or if you're a believer or whatever. Sometimes it's good to get some other stuff in your spirit, some other vibes and basically vibes into your spirit. Don't be so one-sided. Also, PJ Morton, a phenomenal artist. But he has sounds like he's returning to his gospel roots. He's a preacher's son. But he has a joint called The Gospel According to PJ. I think there's 3 or 4 songs from it that are out there that you can stream or listen to, download, whatever. And it's all 3 of them were fired. J Moss is on one of them. Check that out. So getting to this Candyman. Not this Candyman. The reason why I made this video is a review of Ransom. His new director's cut, Scene 3, exclusively produced by Nicholas Craven. I need to look him up, see what he looks like. So many of these guys I listen to, I don't even know what they look like. But a really dope project. I mentioned I had some initial thoughts on this the other day that I shared on another video, another review. But Ransom, I haven't kept up with him maybe like I should, but as I started hearing him making more features on Griselda projects and 38 Special Trust Army projects and whatnot, Shay Noir, it's like, damn, let me get back to Ransom. Ransom is a very skilled rhymer, very thoughtful dude. One of my favorite lyricists. So checking out this, I wasn't really aware of this series, the director's cut, but it's all in the themes of movies and whatnot, obviously. And this Nicholas Craven dude is a first time that I heard of him was on director's cut too. And I like dude's music. It's different. Not spaced out or weird different, but he just taps into some different samples and whatnot. So I won't go into what I think on all of the beats. Overall, though, I'm a little shocked at, to make a whole 10 songs, 10 records, and not add a lot of noticeable drums or drum programming or whatever to most of it. It seems like most of the samples are pretty raw. I'm sure maybe he went in here and there and added a snare or some cymbals or something. I don't know, but most of them seem kind of raw, and it's just a very different sounding hip hop album. I've mentioned on some of the other joints that I reviewed, the drum track that was used or the drum programming was dope. I don't have that point to make on much of these, so let's jump into it. It opens up with Candyman, Farewell to the Flesh. Obviously, Candyman is a classic. The track is one of my favorite tracks on the album. It's this guitar and this chorus. It's a lot of samples with vocals still left on them, which I told you I'm up and down with that. But with it kind of works throughout here because Ransom has that kind of rapid fire or tight connected cadence that he uses a lot. So you never drift off to the background song or the sample. You kind of stay with Ransom, in my opinion. I didn't look up any lyrics on here. I'm not gonna get into all of that. I'll just things what I caught by my ear. But he has this thing on there where he says the G's always silent like Giannis, and I'm just assuming on there, he's an independent dude. Just a very independent dude, and even in his thought, he's an independent thinker. So I thought that line was fire. And like one thing on this album that I mentioned on the little preview that I did when I was talking about Nas, it was on there. He said something about Obama could have had a third term. Then he comes back and says this next election is the next concern. And I don't know, man. I'm happy that some brothers out here speaking on the election, the importance of it, and participating in the process, because you as an individual, you might not need to vote, and you might not think that it makes any sense for you, but you might have older family members, and I might have mentioned this on my Nas album review. It's popular to stay outside of things and not concern yourself with stuff and believe that things don't work and become cynical and whatever. But again, if your vote didn't matter, why would people be doing everything that they do for your votes for people not to vote? You got that meme out there with the brother doing, why would they be picking up mailboxes and stuff and messing around with the postal system 70 days out? Why would they be doing any of this if your vote didn't count? Do with that what you will. Track number 2, Blacula. I like another thing. A lot of these songs aren't 2-minute songs. They aren't 2 minutes and 20 seconds. They aren't 1 minute and 50 seconds. A lot of these songs are over 3 minutes. Some of them have 3 verses. Blacula is track 2. Some crazy strings on there. A very interesting time signature. It's a really long sample. I think it's over 5 seconds, maybe an 8-second sample. It's kind of makes it a different way to, and I'm getting some rain out here. What in the hell? Man, get my notes wet. He has this bar in there about sitcom. The wrong cast can leave bandages. And he says, addresses the Will Smith thing, sitting at the table, entanglements from that situation. And another verse that he says, and I think he might be hinting that he's made a couple of comments about Tekashi 6ix9ine, but he says if you're friendly with the clown, you might be part of the circus. And he has another flip on there on a saying, it's really gonna rain out here.
Hate to do some damn.
I lost my outside, and now I'm in here with the person I've been confined with since March. Getting into, but no, to finish that Blacula, he had a verse about, what is it? Better late than never, but he says, nah, never late is better. I like how he flipped that around. I've heard it flipped around before, but again, some of the wordplay and thoughts that he puts into his verses, that's another example of that. The next track is JD's Revenge. I'm not too familiar with that movie and didn't feel like looking it up. But that one's almost 4 minutes. It's this sample from a ballad again with singing in it. Again, I don't pick up any drums in it, but the track works. Again, he's speaking about walking to his own drum and being independent as a thinker and in his views and opinions and whatnot. And he says something, I never followed the consensus. He's got another line in there about chasing pennies got to stink. That's what that stench is. And again, I feel like a lot of stuff that's popular, man, people do it to get money. Whether it's a song, whether it's recording certain songs, making certain videos, people selling their soul, and misleading people, making you think a lot of this stuff is popular when it's really not. So I like him calling some of this stuff out. He's got another verse on there about something about my point is not the same, or the point is not the same. That's like going from Kyrie to Colin Sexton. So another nice sports reference right there. Trust artist, what's his name? Rashid Chappelle. He's on here with the verse. Not his best feature for me, to be honest. The next track is From Dusk Till Dawn. That's the joint with I can't think of it, George Clooney back in the day. This one's 2 minutes and 34 seconds. Very dramatic track. Like, the production is crazy, and then RJ Payne comes in with the feature and really plays into the energy of the track and the production of the song. His feature is over the top. I really liked it. That's a pretty good song. I Am Legend is track 5. You're at the halfway point in the album. Might be the highlight of the album, honestly. He's just doing some reminiscing about different situations throughout the years, pop culture or black pop culture. He had a line in there. I always love when boxing shows up in hip hop. And based on his age, he mentioned something about what if Don King wasn't breathing and maybe Cuss lived. He says that Buster Douglas may not have never happened. And then Desiree, who was the female that Mike Tyson went away for, that maybe they would have never had that night. He also talks about Tupac. So what if Tupac wasn't in some lobby, I guess in Las Vegas? He said, what if that skinny brother from Marcy never made it, referencing Jay Jordan. And then he also has, again, touching on some current events, he asked about George Floyd and asked, what was that staged to create the riots? Or then they could turn around and expose people to the virus. Make of that what you want to. I like that people mention different things that are going on in everyday life and giving us listeners their interpretation of things. Some people might turn you off with their thoughts, or they might give you some things to think about and sit on for a little bit and come to your own conclusion. So it's an interesting question to pose. The next track is Misery. This one is 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Nice change of pace on the production. Maybe this track, I can't remember exactly. Maybe it's a little bit more straightforward than the rest of them. Like I said, some of these samples are really just not what I think of for hip hop, or I wouldn't immediately see it as something that somebody could rhyme over. But my note on this was nice change of pace on the vibe of it. And I like the way the handoff, no chorus in this one. It just goes straight from Ransom to 38 Special's verse. And I love, like I said, Special sets up his punchlines, and his second bar that he rhymes with the preceding bar, he sets that up exceptionally well. A lot different from a lot of other MCs, and I really like that part of his game. But he has something about these kids want to burn bridges like they know how, or like they can survive underwater. Special's verse is one of the standout verses on the whole album. Track 7 is Hereditary. 2 minutes and 25 seconds on that one. A lot of commentary on here about some of the state-sponsored violence, I think is what has been coined or referred to as, or just, the mistreatment of black people. He mentioned something about why he was locked up or behind the wall that he saw a man, some corrections officers kill an inmate, and nothing was done about it. He plays with this flow a little bit on here. He's kind of a monotone guy, but he adds a little emotion to his voice as he's asking some of these questions. And then I like the ad libs that he uses on here that helps punctuate what he's rhyming about. And I like at the end, and I think towards the end of the song, he says something about try to ignore the likes. People out here using social media for this and that and to gain attention and whatever. And he mentions on here, I'm not from, and maybe it was at the start of this song, but he says I wasn't raised on IG, I was raised by the OGs. And some people's reliance on social media for different things is just weird to me. But he said try to ignore those likes. Gone Girl is track 8, a little over 3 minutes. Another sample with some vocals left in it. This one is some storytelling, which is a good change of, from the other songs, although it's a cinematically themed album. Not everything else on here was storytelling, but on here he's storytelling and a lot of references to karma. He's talking about some relationships that a brother had with the sister, and I guess the brother got killed. That's an interesting song. Track number 9, American Hustle, almost 4 minutes. At the beginning of this, man, he goes in this nice run of flows with the same cadence. But he has something in there of, are you Walter White or Gustavo? But just a great example of how technical he is with his rhyming skills and how tight when he gets on he does it. If you listen to his music, he does it quite often. It's a nice feature on here too. I've heard this kid, I didn't look up his name before I started this, but a solid feature from him, staying on the same cadence as Ransom uses on it. I thought that was pretty slick. And then on the second half of the song, Ransom comes back, the beat changes up, and there's this spoken word that performance that Ransom gets into, which is a little unusual for him, but I liked it. It works. And then lastly, it closes with The Shining. Not a real standout song in terms of a finale. Back when I was younger, in my teens, the finale of an album was often it was an intentional song, and it was meant to stand out. It might even be a longer song. Sometimes artists closed out, a record with all their features on there. A posse cut was what it was called back then. So sometimes the finale, the final record on the album was really meant to signify something or the end and the perfect send-off for that project. The Shining doesn't really do that for me in a way, but it's not a bad record. Very soulful guitar sample on there. Another change of pace from everything else that's on here. And remember a couple of reviews ago, I told you how many times different artists or MCs have made their own spin on Jay-Z's like Short Sleeves, I Bear Arms. That from Brooklyn's Finest, I think is the name of it, with B.I.G. That was on his Reasonable Doubt. But that's how that line must have stuck, that metaphor must have stuck in a lot of people's minds, because every so often you hear someone do their own spin on it to try to, I don't know if they're paying homage to Jay or just trying to do it better, or they're just inspired by that little play on words. But he does it here. Well, he says, I'm still bearing arms like my mama, like when my mama used to tie a knot in my sleeve or something. I don't know if he really gets to how well Jay did his, but again, that's a similar version of that little moment that Jay had early on in his career. And here it is in 2020, people are still messing around with that metaphor about bearing arms, carrying weapons, brandishing a gun. Anyway, that's it, man. I went longer than I thought I was, but what's new? Let me get on out of here. Pay me no mind. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Enjoy that album.